Right now, I want to welcome to the program our friend Julie Gunlock from the Independent Women's Forum. How are you, Julie?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
It is always my pleasure talking with you. So you sent me an email a little earlier, said, okay, I haven't read anything this week, but I'm working on a piece about Pokemon Go and the nannies who are freaking out about it. But then you said, I don't have to talk about anything. And I told you, I said, I actually have like 6 stories about Pokemon Go in the stuff that I had that I was thinking, all right, maybe we could talk about this. Because I don't know, for whatever reason, today has been the day when people have started writing about Pokemon Go. So I've seen stories of, kids in Mississippi who were robbed when criminals decided, hey, you know what, we can lure people here by saying, get your Pokemons here, right? Then there's the story in the Washington Post about the Holocaust Museum asking visitors, please don't catch Pokemon here at the Holocaust Museum.
That's pretty gross. Yeah. So I've seen too. Like I immediately. So I was playing with my kids. I got the app. I downloaded the app for them. They were thrilled, and so I played this with them yesterday. And I start my piece out. I talk about how I was following them around, and it had nothing to do with my fear for the children. It was because they were holding my iPhone, which I could just imagine them dropping it in a puddle somewhere. So that's why I was hovering over my kids as they were playing this game, because they had to carry around my phone. Mm-hmm. Not out of concern for them, for their safety. But of course now, and as I became more familiar with this game, I started, like you, hearing the stories, and I'm just astonished by, of course, the nannies come out of the woodwork and start talking about how, I sort of catalog a few of the examples here in my piece. I talk about how, yes, I mentioned the one about people being lured to certain areas, and I said, because apparently people can't be lured by anything else but an iPhone app, and I link to a story about how police lured criminals with the promise of free beer. So look, it's not actually that hard to lure people to locations. And then I talked about, the Today Show putting a picture up of bloody hands and bruised legs because people are apparently falling down. And then, of course, the police are saying, pedophiles, they're going to lure your kids to their house, and, on and on and on. So, of course, the nannies are out, right, warning people about this app, which actually has some pretty good qualities as well. I mean, it gets kids off the couch, right? I've seen people on Twitter quipping that this app has done more to reduce obesity than Michelle Obama's 8 years in the White House, because it gets them to go outside, right? And it has this the thing that gets the kids wanting to do this is that they can still play sort of a game on a mobile app or on a mobile phone, but they have to walk around. So it's a great sort of innovation. So
Larry O'Connor has a piece at Hot Air talking about his son asking, can we go on a 5K walk? Because apparently he wanted to hatch an egg. And so, he said, Pokemon Go got more kids off the sofa in 4 days than Michelle Obama's 7 years of haranguing.
That's right. Well, thank you for citing that, because I have said that myself, but then I've seen other people cite it. So I'm glad that he was the originator of it, because it's a great line, and it's totally true. And this is the reason why a lot of free market people say, all of these things that Michelle Obama says, we need government intervention here and there. I mean, eventually, the free market will solve this problem. There will be an invention, right? And here you have it. You have an app that gets kids to walk around. You mentioned the egg. My kids walked in a circle. They worked all around their grade school trying to get this egg to hatch, because you have to walk for the egg to sort of cook. And so it's a great little invention. But again, you're going to have the nanny staters, you're going to have the nervous Nellies and the pearl clutchers and the hand wringers all freaking out about this. The app hasn't even been out a week, and you've got more stories about, how it's going to lead to doom and gloom and the death of players than anything else.
Yeah, and it's interesting because as I'm reading just the plethora of stories about Pokemon Go, and I confess, my kids played Pokemon. I'm a little too old for Pokemon, and I'm not giving up my phone, Julie, for my kids.
God,
so
I
don't think we're gonna be downloading Pokemon Go anytime soon.
Don't do it. And now, I'm after I hang up with you, I will be taking my kids to the pool. and they actually asked me, "Can we play Pokemon Go at the pool?" I'm like, "It's fenced in. You can't go anywhere. You can't. You know, it's sort of not the point, kids."
But
so yeah,
but I still don't. I don't necessarily object to this. In fact, I think it's kind of fascinating actually the popularity of this and how this has taken off. And clearly there are a lot of adults who are playing this as well. And I wonder if this is. You look at all of the news, and it seems like the country spiraling out of control by the day. I wonder if this is not a perfect bit of escapism for people.
Well, look, I said in my piece, I said at the end, look, I feel like, it's our responsibility. It's my responsibility as a mom to tell my kid if they're going to go out with my phone and walk around the neighborhood, they have got to behave themselves and look up and, abide by the street rule. They stop and look both ways, all this stuff. If I don't think my kid can do that, don't let them play the game. But I think my kid can do this. But I feel like adults playing this game that are running into buildings and falling off cliffs. I mean, I sort of feel like this is a bit of the Darwin Awards. Like, if you're going to be so stupid as to, look, and people, it's not Pokemon Go. I mean, go on YouTube, and there are hundreds of videos of people falling into, like, mall fountains and falling down and running into traffic because they don't look up from their phones.
But this is what I don't understand about Pokemon Go, though, Julie.
Yeah.
You're looking through your camera lens. You are still supposedly able to see what's in front of you.
Well, that's a very good point.
I mean,
but the problem is people look directly. No, I think the problem is people look directly ahead of them, but they don't look sort of around. So, when you're looking through a camera, if you come to a four-way stop, you have to take your head out of the camera and look both ways. And I think people get so sort of into this virtual reality. I mean, but again, this is the Darwin Awards. If you're going to be so stupid as to not look up when you get to an intersection, then I just don't have a lot of sympathy for you. And again, fine, if you don't think your child is equipped to do this, it's called being a parent. Don't give them the phone if you don't think that they're equipped to handle it. Again, I just don't understand why this is so hard for people to grasp. And again, all these alarmist stories, and there's a very, very simple solution here. It's, grow up and act like a responsible human being, or at least,
but we don't do.
Use some good judgment with your kids.
But we don't. But when was the last time you heard a media outlet say that? I mean, come on. Again, they're just hoping that someone is capturing the video on their smartphone as somebody falls off a curb. While they're playing Pokemon Go. I mean, that's what they're hoping for.
Well, this winter we had a huge snowstorm, as you know, in the Washington, D.C. area, and school was out for what felt like a decade. It was like a week. But I remember that they continued to cancel school even though the snow had largely melted. And one of the reasons was because there were still these snowdrifts on curbs and around at corners where the bus stops were. And they were freaking out about kids potentially falling off one of these snowdrifts and into the line of traffic. And every time I would say that's absurd, I would get the same answer, and that is it happened. It happened to one child in Fairfax County the year before. And based on this one, now it's a horrible, horrible example. It's a horrible, terrible thing, but like accidents happen, and so we can't. They literally canceled school for an additional 4 days until all of these drifts had melted away. I mean, that's astonishing to me that they made a decision. I mean, there was literally no snow out there except in these drifts, and they continue to cancel school. So we are making there is this kind of nervousness about these things, like the one kid who falls into traffic while he's playing Pokemon Go, and then just wait for it. You'll get some calls to ban these apps and to ban these games.
So there'll be a day not long from now, Julie, when we'll be able to tell our kids, "I'm sorry, Billy, but only adults are allowed to play Pokemon Go."
That's right, God.
Welcome to 2016.
That's right.
No flying cars or anything like that, but hey, we do have Pokemon on our smartphones. Julie, listen, thank you. Unfortunately, we are almost out of time, but I'm looking forward to reading your piece. Where will we be able to find it? IWF.org?
It'll eventually be at IWF.org. I'm not sure where I'm going to pitch this one, but hopefully hopefully it won't be too late. This is all the rage right now.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if there are any Pokemon-related websites that you could pitch this to.
Are you kidding? Of course there are.
Got to pitch them all. All right, Julie. We'll talk to you soon.
Good to be on. Thanks.
Julie Gunlock with the Independent Women's Forum here on NRA News, Cam and Company.